lots of exciting things are happening in the medical management of glaucoma. So let us hear it out from Mayuri that what are the advances in the medical management of glaucoma. Dr. Mayuri is currently a treasurer of Glaucoma Society of India, and she is a renowned glaucoma expert practicing in Ahmedabad. Dr. Mayuri, it's all yours.
Thank you, Pratik. Good morning, everyone. I will be talking on the advances that are there and what is their new thing in the market, as well as what is going to come up. And there are so many innovations happening in the medical management of ophthalmology. And after the use of intravitreal implants in the retina, we are also excited whether we can have anything brewing for us in the glaucoma. So what are the new therapies on the block? I will going to highlight first what is new in the market and what is going to come up. So after the waiting of 20 years, now we have two new class of drugs, and both are FDA approved in USA. In India, we have Ripasudil and Netosudil, and the second one is going to be there in the near future. And both has a novel approach in the intraocular pressure reduction. The ROX inhibitor, two molecules are available, Ripasudil and Netosudil. They reduce the cellular stiffness, plus they have norepinephrine transport inhibitor. So they facilitate trabecular as well as uvascular outflow. The dosing is once daily, and latanoprost bunod is a 0.02 24%, very small amount, enhances the uvascular outflow. Now, bunod is a nitric oxide and it dilates the blood vessel, thereby improve the circulation. Now, ROX inhibitor, 3 molecules are there, only 2 are in the market, and Ripasudil is decreasing the resistance to the TM outflow pathway. Reduction of IOP is seen about 3.7 millimeter of mercury, and twice a day is the dosing, while Netosudil is decreasing the resistance of TM as well as reduces the aqueous production. And the IOP reduction is 5.5 millimeter of mercury. Now, it improves the trabecular meshwork outflow, also reduces the aqueous production, and it reduces the episcleral venous pressure, which essentially sets the floor on how low the eye pressure can go. This is very important. So even with a low eye pressure glaucoma, you can achieve the reduction of intraocular pressure. So it is independent of the baseline IOP. That's the benefit to this class. And again, it is giving neuroprotection of the optic nerve, improvement of the blood flow to the eye, and there is a reduction of oxidative damage to the trabecular meshwork. How well does it work? It seems to work about as well as either timolol or latanoprost. So many studies are there for the superiority or inferiority trials, and baseline IOP of all those patients was lower than 25 millimeter of mercury. However, one should remember that it is not a fast-acting drug, as it can take up even up to 6 weeks to have its full effect, IOP lowering effect. So don't be in hurry to add one more medication when you have put patient on this drug. Wait for at least month or 1.5 months. It has a potential for treating the normal tension glaucoma. Unlike other glaucoma medication, the IOP lowering effect of Netosudil does not depend on the initial IOP. That is what I said in the beginning. So whatever is the intraocular pressure, as it has an effect on the lowering of the episcleral venous pressure, it can lower the IOP by 4 to 6 millimeter of mercury regardless of the initial IOP. Now, the chronic use of steroid can often lead to elevation of the intraocular pressure. This steroid response appears to be at least partially induced by the rheokinase activation at the trabecular meshwork. Thus, it makes sense that a ROC inhibitor could potentially prevent or limit the steroid-related elevation of intraocular pressure. Now, what are the side effects? The conjunctival hyperemia is the most common side effect that I have seen in my patients. About 40 to 50% of the patients, they do complain. And this hyperemia is due to relaxation of the blood vessel. And how to minimize this side effect? We can't do anything but ask patient to use this medication at night time. So that will be little better compared to the putting it in a daytime. Now, conjunctival pateal small hemorrhages at the limbus are also seen in some of the patients. It gives conjunctival stinging sensation upon installation, eye irritation and discomfort in many of the patients, and blurring of the vision usually observed by this patient is usually temporary for few minutes. And headache is also another side effect that has been noticed. Now, corneal side effects, the versicolata, fine pigment deposits on the, as shown in this picture, on the corneal surface is also one of the side effects of this medication, but it will not affect the vision and are generally only visible under the microscope slit lamp. So vertex keratopathy is reversible with the discontinuation of this drug. And I have put up a question mark because there is a paper which has shown that it might alter the sclera, as PG analog sometimes do alter the sclera. Same thing is being said about this drug. And there is a case report about the associated epithelial keratopathy by this medication or the reticular epithelial edema in the edematous cornea. So I will not suggest you to use this medication, and these all are reversible changes. The second drug is latanoprost Bunod. Versicolata is the trade name. It releases the nitric oxide once a daily dose. It's a prostaglandin analog that is metabolized into two moiety. One component is latanoprost, second is Bunod. And latanoprost enhance the uvascular outflow, while because it activates, relax the cellular relaxation in the trabecular meshwork, there is a widening of the intracellular spaces in that area. That's how it improves the outflow facility. And it also, nitric acid dilates the blood vessels, so improves the circulation. So the efficacy is about 32%, 1.2 millimeter of mercury additional to the IOP layering compared to the latanoprost alone. And it is effective both day and night. It is safe, just like any PG analog, but irritation, eyelashes changes and hyperemia is that because of the PGs. So I will put this drug as a first line of option in all patients of mine for open angle glaucoma where PGs are not contraindicated. Now with these two drugs, it is possible to have some effect on the neuroprotection. Maybe they have a role in the neuronal tension glaucoma. Now the combination of the netosudyl and latanoprost is also available in Western world. This is also once a daily, and it also improves the adherence issue by using this as a combination. Now we know that glaucoma is a chronic disease, also involve a lot of expenditure in the investigations and drugs, and drug non-compliance is an issue with this disease. So we end up with the invasive surgery, which has its own side effects and complications. So we have to bridge the gap between the two. So how can we do so? So many drug delivery system, new systems are been shown here and are being practiced nowadays. So to major approach to overcome these challenges, apply devices to the ocular surface like contact lens or rings or intracannular implants, or one can inject intracamerally some implants. This is a very nice sentence that I have come up with. Patient only uses 72% of their topical glaucoma medication, but the estimate in the real world is closer to 50%. So a lot of non-compliances are there. So we need something which can deliver the best for us to improve the compliance. So sustained release option is one, subconjunctival delivery of the biodegradable polymer microparticles formulation are available. This patient photograph I have taken from the net. Here you can see the deposition of this, of the travoprost. Secondly, bimetoprost sustained release implant is been, they have completed phase 3 trials. The Allergan is doing that, and it is to be kept in, injected intracamerally, and 6 to 8 millimeter of mercury reduction is seen for the 6 months. So these are the internal platforms which are under the control of the doctor. Same thing, travoprost implants are also extended release biodegradable polymer implants are also available, which reduces the intraocular pressure by 35% over 8 months. So a few words on the Durasist, which is bimetoprost implant of 10 microgram. It comes preloaded and has to be injected intracamerally. And they have suggested 3 injections. The study are being done. Artemis study 1, part 1 and 2, and phase 3 trial results were published in 2020. The only a word of caution here is they are also looking at the endothelial cell density count, and the cystoid macular edema sometimes is observed. So one has to be very careful when we use it in the pseudophakic or aphakic eye. Another new drug delivery system is microdrops. It's a IONIVIA technique, uses variation on high resolution inject printer technology that allows patient to self-administer small doses of drug to the eye. And so there is a decrease in the side effect and increase in the safety profile. The punctal plugs are also there, but the disadvantage is sometimes it may fall out and patient may not be knowing. So the injected devices, the disadvantages, it requires the injections done in the clinic and carries the risk of the infections. These are various, this tree showing you the external platforms. So punctum plugs, topical ophthalmic drug delivery devices stored, they say, they are placed under the upper lid and works for the 90 days. And the rings are also available, and the contact lenses are also available. This is how the ring is preservative-free ocular ring is of 1 millimeter thickness, and it is to be placed underneath the lid in the fornices, deep into the fornices. And bimetoprose is put in the center of this silicon matrix. So another platform is the periocular injections. Durasert latanoprose injections are there. And the latanoprose, large unilamellar vesicles are also derived from the liposomes. And this releases the drug for 50 days. And lastly, the ophthalmic micropumps are also designed, which has to be placed over the sclera subconjunctivally. These are wireless, programmable, refillable, and dispensing nanoliter size doses. So it lasts up to 12 months, and then you can fill it and re-implant it over the sclera.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am, but request you to wrap up in the next 1 minute.
These are 2 slides only. So nanoparticles exhibits high encapsulation efficiency, drug loading capacity, and stable control release efficiency. So the new study has been come up, which has they have shown the co-delivery of brinzolamide and the miRNA 124 by the biodegradable nanoparticles as a strategy for the glaucoma. So what we will get out of this, it has a wide potential for the social and economical benefit, and it will give not only the reduction of the intraocular pressure, but we might have some effect on the neuroprotection aspect also. So the challenges are many. We have seen pilocarpine sustained release occlusions in long back in my early residency days, but they have also had a problem, the dislodgement and backpacking of the drug and soluble issue. So still we have not reached the target. So many new things are still, options are available in the lab. I can't just say them all in this platform, but we will see a new era in the glaucoma medical management.